Dread Awakening fixes and balance patch number 3, baby. We finally got it. We have been waiting for it for a really long time, and it finally dropped, guys. The patch notes we have been waiting for, and potentially the last balance patch from this Dread Awakening balance phase. I'm not really sure about that one, so have that in mind though. But let's start right away. Greeting mortals, what's cooking in the GU kitchen? Oh, don't do that, please. We are serving the latest bug fixes and balancing adjustments right here. Bug fixes, plenty of bug fixes. Seasonal Reavers, Summoning Work Plan, they seem to be pretty specific. But okay, I'm pretty happy to see a big screen of bug fixes being changed. I mean, I like that. That's a good cooking. That's a good cooking GU. This is actual cooking. Whatever is here is probably not. Oh my god, here from the get-go, you get to see Rally the Band, you see Lucid Dreamer, you see Signy, you see a lot of cards you usually don't look at, but there's also Paria and Brute Parasite and Sands of River, so this is gonna be an interesting one. Catacomb Paria deal 2 damage to each other creature, so it no longer goes phase. Red Touch, deal 2 damage, it no longer goes phase. Does this kill the card? Not really. It makes it a little bit less versatile. It's not going to be as much pressure as it used to be, but it's still pretty damn solid. If you ask me, this is a good save change. They are not killing the card. It's still pretty annoying to face it. It's gonna matter. A lot of the Dread matchups, a lot of the mirror matchups, or not mirror, but just a lot of facing this specific deck, that extra 2 damage would actually matter a lot, because there's a point in which you can play Emberoni, there's a point in which you can play Hortuk, there's a point in which you can just stabilize and get the board again, but now that Paria doesn't go phase, it means you might be saving 2 to 4 HP every single matchup, and in the long run, that's gonna have an impact on the deck's win rate. But let's keep on moving. Divine Perception, mana cost reduced from mana cost 2 to 1, Divine Beard reduced from 3 to 2, Leyline Flow, mana cost changed to 1, and Leyline Balance, mana cost reduced to 1. Why do they... I still do not understand why they go with different wordings when they're talking about the same changes. Why make it more confusing? So let's go through the Divine Perception cards. Let's just open them up. For C5, Red Touch, then draw 3 cards from your bottom of your deck. Divine Perception is pretty much OP, because this is already a super playable card and people already are going for it every time. And this is exactly what I meant when I first talked about the mysteries, is how come the most basic layer of mysteries was the strongest were the strongest mysteries of the game. I would usually love sitting on the first version of the mysteries and then don't moving up from there. But now they got way more playable. Divine Bird, summon a 5 mana cost magic creature. Dread Touch, summon a random 7 mana cost magic creature instead. This is cheaper, which also makes playing out their magic a little bit faster, getting the discount faster, even playing it on the same turn a little bit more consistent. So this is already a huge buff as well. It's gonna be 1 mana less. We also get discounts to the highest tier or the epic tier of the mysteries, making Leyline Beam 1 mana. If I'm not wrong, Leyline Beam used to be 4 or 3. Deal 4 damage to the strongest enemy creature, deal 4 damage to your opponent's god. But it was equal to your unlocked mana gems. Wait, they completely changed it, right? It used to be equal unlocked mana gems, but they say this is the old text and this is the new text. So yeah, text change, which means this is not the old one. I mean, it doesn't really matter. This is the old one now. I mean, the new one. And this is pretty good. And it's really strong because this enables Avatar Magic to be played immediately. With a cheap spell, which is pretty nice. Now you're going to have the follow-up and it's going to be kind of okay. I think the old one was maybe better in some cases, especially if you were not going for the Avatar Magic Wincon. But this is huge. I mean, these two getting discounted is pretty nice. So basically now you can refresh mana, and now you're actually gaining mana when getting this secret on play or mystery. The main reason why I didn't like it was because it was only working to either ramp or to get something mana search, but other than that, for an epic mystery, it felt pretty lackluster. Because once you were sitting at the secret, it meant the whole game went for a really long time. And you didn't really need to ramp at that point. You needed to be a little bit more proactive. You needed to be doing something different. So refreshing 2 mana for 1 mana, now that opens up a leftover mana pool to use to either get your Avatar of Magic on the board, now getting Avatar of Magic on the same turn that it gets created is going to be much more consistent. Because now you can actually play like this, play the 3 mana cost spell, play Leyline Flow to discount some mana, and now you can go crazy with Avatar of Magic beams. So this is gonna make playing Avatar of Magic and killing your opponent on the same turn way more solid. Now it's gonna work way more often. This is actually a huge buff for the mage players, because I'm telling you they're gonna go Leyline Flow. Because once you play Avatar of Magic, you go with Leyline Flow, you refresh 2 mana for 1 mana left over, and now you get to use 2 beams. And you also get the beam from Avatar of Magic once you play it. So this is gonna be pretty nasty. This is actually really nasty change. Leyline Balance, it's also pretty good, because now if you won't have lethal, you know you won't have lethal, you're playing against Bomb Dragons, you want to transform your opponent's board, this is gonna work as well. So these are actually big changes. I think the Leyline Beam, it's okay, it's pretty good, but it is not as big as it looks like, because you're not getting the crazy amount of damage you were getting. But if you're fishing for small amounts of damage, this is actually pretty much really nice as well. So this is gonna be interesting. It seems Mage is gonna be really strong again. We can go to Brood Parasite. As we expected, they removed the Dragon Tag. Dragon Tag is not going to be any longer on there, which, yeah, no more Glean into Brood Parasite. What else does the Dragon? It won't work well with all the synergies. I don't think this destroys the Dragon archetype. I still think it's pretty much playable, but it's going to be an interesting change. I haven't really thought about it that much, getting the Dragon Tag. It's just not going to be as draw as often, so now you have to keep it on mulligan, and now Whelp won't be giving you the Dragon. So in a way, now Whelp is going to be more consistent on giving you other dragons, but yeah, this is actually pretty... I'm going to say it's a big change, but I don't think it's going to affect the win rate as much, because this is just a card you really want to keep on the mulligan anyways. So if you get lucky with the mulligan, you're probably going to be okay. Stance of Revert also gets changed. Let's take a look. Increased mana cost from 2 to 3. This card is super versatile. This was used as an endgame mechanic, and you were not always rushing, right? You were not always trying to play Stance of Revert the moment you get it on your hand, because if you play it, it meant you were removing the graveyard or the afterlife effect from your board, because this card gave solace to whatever minion afterlife they proc. So making it 3 mana, I don't think it's a super big of a deal. Maybe it's gonna be annoying for like in some late games, but I think some people were not even running this card. I personally was running only 1 copy of it. It was pretty good as an endgame mechanic. It was pretty good as a just last resource. Let me hit you with something off my graveyard. But with the amounts of Void Hate people were running, it just started feeling a little bit more lackluster. Because again, this is not a card you were going to play on the early game. You cannot do it, because then you would mess up your Void yourself. And that's something you didn't want to do. So in a way, I will say this still works as a finisher. And I think it's maybe playable. Signy Fallen Sister, stats change, text change. So she went from being a 9/7 to a 4/10, which means now she's much more clunky. She's gonna be hard to get rid of. And the roar was your opponent summons the random highest mana cost creature from their hand, then this attacks it. Dread Touch gain protected first. So if you sacrifice a minion, she would bring down the strongest minion from your opponent's hand and she would attack it, but if you sacrifice a minion, she would get protected. If not, she would just hit it with 9/7 stats. But now is your opponent summons the random highest mana cost creature in their hand, then this attacks it. Dread Touch gain protected first. Oh, it's deadly. She gains deadly. I skipped the deadly part. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, no, that's a big change, because now she can kill Arandion. She can kill everybody. She's a 4/10. Not only does she kills everybody, she doesn't even need to be Mana Surge. Because at 410, who is killing your girl? And the biggest thing is, why are you even trying to keep her alive? It doesn't matter. If you don't have a minion to sacrifice or to dread dodge, you don't mind it. Because getting the deadly and getting rid of any big threat your opponent has is huge. So you can play these and get rid of Teriels now efficiently. You can get rid of, well, Hortux. You can get rid of Arandion. You can get rid of all these mechanics that existed already. Cannot kill Avatar Magic? Yes, you cannot kill Avatar Magic. You're right. So in a way, this is exactly what I was gonna go into. It feels like they are nerfing the old combos and all mechanics on a way. And now they're forcing you like, hey guys, if you wanna play the game, you must first get the mysteries. Hey, you wanna play the game, you gotta get the mysteries because mysteries are pretty damn strong right now. And that's a reality. Mysteries are on an insane spot, I'm telling you. These are really big changes. These are monster changes because everything got discounted. And they didn't even get discounted by 1 or 2 mana. Like, Leyline Flow got discounted for 1 mana, Leyline Balance got discounted for 2 mana. So, and the same goes, like, it's big changes all in all for Mysteries. Well, Signy is playable now. I wonder if War is gonna make it happen or not. I still don't know if War is in a good spot. I would say no because this doesn't stop Avatar Magic. It just doesn't do it. You will need to have something else on the board to remove the Avatar Magic, which is possible. You can go for it. But arguably, Mage has ramp. So Mage gets their missions and gets all their objectives faster than Mage does. So usually these type of things just happen way faster than it does. And if you're a Mage player, you can still run a Randion and you can still run Avatar Magic. And since Avatar Magic is going to be discounted and 3-3 stats, your opponent's going to steal a Randion, he's going to kill it, and then you win the next turn playing Avatar Magic with Mystery, so it doesn't matter. But let's move on to the next section. Lucid Dreamer, strength increase from 1 to 2. Lucid Dreamer is a card that see almost no play. Never. Why? Because the requirement is really tough. You need to bounce minions off your hand, I believe. After a creature is returned to your hand during your turn, gain +1/+1. So increase strength from 1 to 2, Lucid Dreamer. And I'm pretty sure it's not that this is updated yet, or maybe it is, I don't know. I'm not even sure. I'm guessing this is from the bouncing a minion. Still unplayable if you ask me, unless you could go face with this guy somehow. He is guild though, so maybe I'll eat my words, but I don't think so right now. And no longer have the wild tag, which is really big. And it's not really big for the reasons you think. It's just that mutations now made no difference. So this nerf to Raid Swarm, it's a nerf to Wayward Hot or mutations overall. It's a nerf to Crawling Madness because of the ants, of course. It's just a heavy nerf to the mutation archetype all around. It's just a heavy nerf because ants were the easiest way to get mutations on there. And now if you want to get the mutations, you have to play your cards normally, and that's not easy. You know, it's not easy. So now mutation is going to be 10 times slower. I'm telling you, it's going to be super tough. Yeah, Hunter's Guide. Yeah, also Hunter's Guide gets a nerf out of this. Regression, mana cost increase from 1 mana to 3. And that's insane. We all remember what regression looked like recently, right? It was a 1 mana, transform the strongest enemy creature into a random creature with 1 less mana cost. Dread Touch, transform each enemy creature instead. This is a big change. Regression, it's no longer a, I'm playing against Bomb Dragons, and I'm just gonna play Regression immediately on turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. And stop Brood Parasite, stop Blackfire Fleshling, or I'm winning the board, I'm losing the board, let me just God Power Regression for 3 mana. Now you want to do that, it's 5 mana, it's a bigger change, it's actually pretty important. So this is a big deal, this is a big change. Nature is getting a lot of hits, Unnatural Selection stayed the same, Crawling Madness, it's still the same, but the ants no longer have the wild tag, which is a big change again. Wayward Hot, I'm gonna say it's probably not too playable anymore, and Regression receives a hard nerf. So what cards would I look like right now? I will say the all clears, like Blood in the Water is still pretty good. Regression is still playable. Don't let it you know misguide you. This is still a pretty good card. I honestly believe Regression for 1 mana was foolish. I think 3 mana is a good spot, and I still think it's a pretty damn strong card. Let's move on. Rally the Band. For each creature of a different tribe you control, delve a creature into your deck of the same tribe and draw it. For each creature of a different tribe you control, draw a creature of the same tribe. So you no longer delve. Oh, Profane Ritualist, my bad, you're right. Change text from actually, I don't remember what Profane Ritualist even looks like. Profane Ritualist. Dreadtouch, transform a random friendly acolyte into a 5/5 illusory cultist and give it Blitz. So this is a card that saw almost no play. Transform a random friendly acolyte into 5/5 illusory cultist and give it Blitz. Oh, it has Blitz now. The thing is, the random is so necessary. Yeah, like the biggest issue with this type of cards is, in order to play Profane Ritualist and gain value, you need to have 2 minions on board, and one of them has to be an acolyte. That's so complicated because you need to sacrifice a minion, and then you need to have an acolyte on there already to gain this, to gain this effect. And that's just pretty troublesome. I know Blitz sounds good. I still think this card's gonna have a hard time seeing play. Maybe it will, mainly because Teriel, the new Teriel, needs Lustry Cultist a lot to gain value. And he can be an incredibly endgame finisher if you get to play him at 7 mana. But the thing is, this needs such a big setup to be played. I don't know if it's gonna be on there. And then it's random friendly acolyte, which you don't get to get value trades and then pick whatever you want. It was not needed. I agree with Grant on that. Random prevents from bringing the board to play around things like Blood in the Water. I mean, it would help in a way, right? So let's go to Rally the Band. I think Profane Ritual is still unplayable. Change text from each creature of a different tribe you control. Delve a creature in your deck for the same tribe, draw it. Yeah, we already read it. For each creature of a different tribe you control, draw a card, a creature of the same tribe. So you no longer delve, which matters. It actually matters. It is a small nerf, but it's a good nerf. Again, we're not killing the card. And we get to see the same effect just being on there, which is War gets to draw a lot of cards. And for some cards, it doesn't even matter. There's a lot of decks that are just running double imps. And you don't mind, or you don't care about not getting the second, not picking the other nether, because you're going to get the imp anyway. Maybe you're playing Eutheria, maybe you're playing 1-drops. Well, yeah, it might make you a little bit weaker in that sense, but that's the whole point of the card. The card's still playable, it's just not as consistent as it used to be. I think this is a good change. Chieftain's Fury, change name to Chieftain's Fury. Oh. Okay, we all thought that was a nerf. It's not a nerf. We got a change of name. Student of Scales, increase strength from 3 to 4. Wait, what? This is a 2 mana 4/2? Why do we have... Oh, it's a 3 mana 4/2. Why do we have to be so aggressive? He's already giving you an Eldritch Mystery. What do you mean? Okay, mysteries are getting out of hand. Mysteries are getting out of hand right now. This is too much. Well, there you go. These are the Dread Awakening fixes and balance patches number 3. Maybe the last ones of the set. Maybe we do have time for another update. We're gonna find out soonish. But now it's time to play Mage. So let's jump into a few Mage games and see how strong this Mystery Mage actually is.
Well, that was easy.